Stay with me. We got pulled over for a busted tail light in the back. And the police just, he's covered. They killed my boyfriend. He's licensed. He's licensed to carry. He was trying to get out his ID and his wallet out his pocket, and he let the officer know that he had a firearm and he was reaching for his wallet, and the officer just shot him in his arm. We're waiting for a back. I will, sir. No worries. I will. He just shot his arm off. We got pulled over on Larpener.
I told him not to reach for it. I told him to get his hand out.
You told him to get his ID, sir, and his driver's license. Oh my God, please don't tell me he's dead. Please don't tell me my boyfriend just went like that.
Just keep your hands where they are, please.
Yes, I will, sir. I'll keep my hands where they are. Please don't tell me this, Lord. Please, Jesus, don't tell me that he's gone. Please don't tell me that he's gone. Please, officer, don't tell me that you just did this to him. You shot 4 bullets into him, sir. He was just getting his license and registration, sir.
Get the female passenger out.
Man, exit the car right now with your hands up. Let me see your hands. Exit now. Keep them up. Keep them up.
Where's my daughter? You got my daughter?
Face away from me and walk backwards. Walk backwards towards me. Keep walking.
Backwards. Keep walking. Keep walking. Keep walking. Get on your knees. Get on your knees.
Ma'am, you're just being detained right now until we get this all sorted out, okay?
They threw my phone, Facebook. Please don't tell me, Lord Jesus, please don't tell me.
First here.
Okay,
Any weapons or anything?
No, please don't tell me my boyfriend is gone. Here, take it off my hand. Please don't tell me he's gone. Please, Jesus, no! Please, no!
Stand up, walk over to me.
No, don't let him be gone, Lord!
Umbrella. She's up. Whole nother level of shit you can't even understand. Like quicksand, nigga, you sink.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another episode of The Forecast. Now, the problem was speaking about issues and with my people in our community. The thing that we keep running into when we speak about issues is we have to keep addressing the same situations and the same incidents over and over and over. And I don't know how many times it's going to take for us to wake up and start doing shit, to get it popping, do whatever we got to do. But here, again, we have another situation of the same old thing, the same old song. Same shit, different fucking day. I know a lot of you have heard about the Philando Castile trial and where the officer is found not guilty for just shooting the fuck out of this dude, even though, again, got video evidence. We've been getting video evidence for like 20 years now, okay? How much more evidence do we need to see that shit doesn't matter to these people? Now, before we talk about the Philando Castile case, let's go to the story and see exactly what happened.
Guilty. That is the verdict in the trial of St. Anthony police officer Jeronimo Yanez.
Jurors found Yanez was reasonable in his decision to shoot and kill Philando Castile during a traffic stop last July. Officer Yanez was charged with manslaughter. The jury also found him not guilty in 2 other counts of endangering Philando Castile's girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, and her child.
Reynolds broadcast the immediate aftermath of that shooting live on Facebook. It gained worldwide attention. She testified in court that Castile was reaching for his wallet during the traffic stop in Falcon Heights. Officer Yanez, however, said he saw a gun in Castile's pocket and fired in self-defense when he thought Castile was reaching for the weapon.
We have team coverage of the verdict. We're going to start at the courthouse in St. Paul. That is where Reg Chapman is. He's been talking with Philando Castile's family. Hello, Reg.
Amelia, Valerie Castile's emotional outburst in court after that not guilty verdict was read was followed by an emotional message to the crowds that were gathered here in St. Paul outside the Ramsey County Courthouse. Now, both Valerie Castile and her daughter Alize Castile say they have no faith in the justice system. Both say what happened today is not justice. They say they are mad that after 29 hours of deliberating, a jury exonerated the police officer who shot and killed Philando Castile.
We're going back down to 1969. Damn! What is it gonna take? I'm mad as hell right now. Yes, I am. My firstborn one son died here in Minnesota. Under the circumstances, just because he was a police officer, that makes it okay. Oh, now they got free reign. He's found innocent on all counts. He's shot into a car with no regards to human life, and that's okay. Thank you, Minnesota. Thank you, Minnesota.
The system really is wrong, and they really failed us. They really failed us once again, because my brother was a good man. You never even heard him raise his voice. You never even heard him yell. And for that man to get on the stand and lie.
Now, Valerie Castile also told that crowd that Yanez may have gotten away with justice on this planet, but he will not get away with divine justice. She says that he will one day have to answer to a higher power. Frank and Amelia.
All right, Reg, thank you.
All right, so another case, another dead black person, another not guilty, another person exonerated on all charges. At what point does this not become a surprise? Damn, hundreds of years of this shit. At some point, it has to not be a surprise anymore. Now, you know, of course, people are going to say, well, he wasn't white. He was Hispanic. He was Hispanic. He wasn't white. Let's start here. The jury was made up of 10 white people and 2 black people. Right, so white people are a jury most times in these cases. White people are the judges, the lawyers. Now, you know, it's the same old story. So that's why I always say, shit, if you want to change it, you have to be the fucking lawyers. You have to be the goddamn judges. And the case that I will always use is Judge Olu Stevens. And the fact that he had all-white jury, and he dismissed it because he had a black defendant, and he felt like it was racial bias involved, and he got in trouble, and he was called the racist. That's the thing they have always done. Or they called Martin Luther King racist. It's not new. The arguments they have is the same arguments they had in 1954. And the difference between now and then is they have had to suppress that shit for 50 years. And they fucking tired of it. The whole justice system is based off of white dominance. And that's just no other way around it. And then they turn around and throw these statistics and say, well, you know, black people are the ones that are violent. Now, when you count these records, what are you basing that off of? Are you saying that this is the people who are convicted of the crime, accused of the crime, arrested for the crime, charged with the crime? What does this statistic come from? Let me see your fucking source on that. And in the case of Philando Castile, he may have had a gun. He said, well, hey, I have a legal gun. I'm letting you know he followed all of the rules, because apparently we think that the Second Amendment, or any amendment besides the 13th, like 14th, 15th, and shit like that apply to us. The Bill of Rights apply to us, when it really fucking doesn't in this country. At no point during the existence of the Bill of Rights did it fit the description for black people. At some point, we gotta wake up and realize that. And to go out and start marching about it ain't gonna solve anything. Right? The only time we should be marching is to commemorate the history of our ancestors, all the things that they did. Only time we should be having Million Man marches is to celebrate what our ancestors achieved and the legacy that they left. But we have to be leaving our own legacy and moving this thing forward from what they did and not let it slip back. And I want to make it clear, in America, as long as it's been the United States of America, this is the best time it has ever been for black people. And to say it is not is disrespectful to our ancestors. But to say it is where we want to be is fucking foolish. And to say that white dominance in the society that we live in isn't what it is ridiculous. But at the same time, to keep talking about it and crying about it ain't gonna do much good, because obviously they know that already. They're the ones who are doing it. At some point, we are the ones who have to stop it. We are all we got. You know, people love to throw the Hispanic term out there and the whole people of color idea out there as well. But Hispanic countries have racism. The people with more melanin are more discriminated against. It seems to be a theme throughout the fucking world. Us sitting there trying to convince them and get them on our side ain't gonna help. We can only help ourselves, and we can only do what we're supposed to do in order for us to prosper. And the point is, we have to protect ourselves and what we build, because every time we have built something, history shows it has been under attack. And it's time to teach our children how to become lawyers and doctors and become judges and become policymakers for your local community. We have to go out and become these things to be in control of your local area, your local representatives, to where your immediate tax money is going, the potholes in your city that's going to get fixed, the jobs that's going to get brought to your city, the police that you'll have in your city, the DA that you'll have in your city. And what I would say about Judge Olu Stevens, yeah, the white people attacked him for not letting the standard be an all-white jury. But we didn't have his back for the scrutiny that he had to face. It should have been black people having his back, especially black attorneys and black judges. That's the mindset we have to have. We have to start looking at each other, because we are all we got. Our ancestors was forced to become millionaires. Now we have to psychologically pick ourselves back up from every attack that has been and that continue. Now, you know, another brother murdered, no accountability by a cop, and if you that fucking scared, you shouldn't be a cop. But, you know, it's the same old thing. When you see three black dudes, it could be one black dude walking down the street in a white tee or something. God forbid he has dreads. You're going to start gripping your purse a little tighter. You're going to start thinking in your head, yo, if he tried me, could I defend myself right now? And to let you know that shit is instilled, it's not only white people, it's black people who feel the same fucking way. You have to identify that shit in your head and recognize that shit is ridiculous. But it has been placed into people's head and images and all of that shit, that you just assume that this black dude might challenge you. Now, me being a black man, I was like, damn. You know, there's a whole psychology instilled into us from a young age. And that's why we have to start teaching our own children, sending them to our own schools, and educating them ourselves with the whole history, the truth. You know, teach them to become successful, teach them money management, because we are all we got. But, you know, same old thing, same old story. But, you know, what are we going to do here? It's a fucking crossroads. Are we going to come together or not? Are we going to just let the shit keep riding? the main thing is divide and conquer. It's simple, but a very effective technique. You know, I want to hear what you got to say about the Philando Castile case.
I'm going to stop a car. I'm going to check the IDs. I have reason to pull it over. The two occupants just look like the people that were involved in our robbery. The driver looks more like one of our suspects just because of the wide set nose.
Shots fired. Larpenter and Fry.
Copy, you just heard it? You just heard the shots fired?
Shots fired!
Copy, shots fired, Larpenter and Fry. Do you need medics?
Medics, call 3!
Copy, medics code 3 to Larpenter and Fry.
One adult female, been taken into custody. Driver, at gunpoint.
Well, sir. Good. How are you? Good. Reason I pulled you over, your brake lights are out. So you only have one active brake light, and that's going to be your passenger side one. Your third brake light, which is up here on top, and on this one back here, is going to be out. You have your license and insurance?
I do have a firearm on me.
Don't reach for it then. Don't pull it out.
I'm not pulling it out.
Don't pull it out.
You just killed my boyfriend. That wasn't me. He wasn't.
Don't pull it out.
He wasn't.
Don't move.
Oh man, I can't believe this. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Don't move.
Oh my
Don't
God.
move.
Oh my God. I'm shaking.
Don't move.
Don't move, baby.
Code 3. Get the baby girl out of here.
Don't move, sir.
Don't move.
Don't move, babe, please.
Fuck.
Whatever you
Get to that 21. Get up. Back there, code 3. Shots fired. Fuck.
Stay with me.
Medics, code 3.
We got pulled over for a busted tail light in the back.
The outcome of the case hinged on those 12 jurors. By all accounts, reaching the verdict today was no easy task.
Those jurors were split on the decision earlier this week. One of those jurors called deliberations, quote, very, very hard. John Croman caught up with that juror after the verdict was announced, and he joins us live with more. John?
Well, Randy, Denny Ploussard, who drives a medical transport van for a living, told us straight up Philando Castile shouldn't have been killed. But he said the state failed to prove the case, the legal standard at least, that Officer Yanez was culpably negligent.
Well, I think that was the major holdup. Did he see the gun or did he not?
Move, guys. That's juror Denny Ploussard on the divide between the 10 jurors who immediately wanted to acquit Officer Jeronimo Yanez on Monday and the 2 who held out 4 more days for conviction.
We had 10 whites and 2 blacks. The 2 blacks were not the holdouts.
Ploussard said that the expert witnesses were interesting, but not the most important factor for the jurors.
Well, what it really boiled down to is he kept reaching when Yanez gave 3 commands, don't reach, and he kept reaching.
But he doesn't necessarily believe Philando Castile wanted to shoot the officer.
He might have been pulling it out just because he wants to show the officer, because he told the officer he had a gun. So he might have been just pulling out, so here you go.
His first reaction to the dash cam video?
Well, to tell you the truth, I thought it was disgusting. I say, how could a guy shoot a guy like that?
But as the trial wore on,
my position changed.
He had a firearm.
As for Castile's girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, who brought the world's attention to the case,
I feel so sorry for Diamond Reynolds. I do. I mean, I absolutely do. But personally, I didn't find her credible.
The jury's reaction to the Castile family storming out of the courtroom?
All my jurors that I was with for this week felt the same thing I felt, devastated for the family. But it came down where the verdict was, I felt the right verdict according to what the law states.
Denny didn't find Diamond Reynolds credible. He says it's because she changed her story, or he felt she changed her story on what side of his pants Philando Castile kept his wallet, the left or the right, on that fateful night up on Larpenteur.
During this 5-hour-long protest, we saw people throwing large rocks and other things at police officers. Police arrested more than 100 people. They say 21 officers were hurt. One of them has a spinal compression injury. Esme Murphy has more on the arrest. And Esme, the word we just heard about half an hour ago.
That's right, Frank. I can tell you that one person has been charged with felony assault. He is accused of throwing Molotov cocktails at officers. 46 others have been charged with gross misdemeanor, third-degree riot, unlawful assembly, and public nuisance charges. Bail has been set for them at $1,500, and they could all make their first court appearance as soon as tomorrow. The 46 were the ones who were arrested after they shut down Interstate 94 overnight Saturday. Those who were arrested on the riot count are overwhelmingly white. A number of them have a history of work in the social justice field. Kate Haviland of St. Paul has long been active in social and environmental causes. Saturday night, she posted video on her Facebook page showing the interstate shutdown. Edith Sargon is the executive director of Wellstone Action and is the author of a blog entitled Move to End Violence. Catherine Bizance is the program director at the Sexual Violence Center in Minneapolis. The center's executive director expressed disbelief at her arrest, saying Catherine is a wonderful rape crisis counselor. She works with police every day. There is no way she was inciting a riot. Also arrested, Max Hornstein, the 21-year-old son of State Representative Frank Hornstein and prominent Twin Cities rabbi Marcia Zimmerman. Representative Hornstein said of his son, quote, "We love him very much. He's a nonviolent kid. We reject violence in any form." Hand in hand with my family. Supporters of those being held have been gathering outside the Ramsey County Jail. Prosecutors have until 10 p.m. to file charges. Attorney Joe Tamburino says the prosecutors do not have to prove the individuals were the ones who threw objects and injured officers.
Riot doesn't mean that each participant was doing the violent act. What it says is that 3 or more people are together, they're doing something that's basically disorderly, and it involves violence or threats or harm to people or property.
In a statement, the St. Paul City Attorney stressed what Police Chief Todd Axtell said yesterday, that these protesters who are getting charged refused more than 24 orders by police to have them leave the interstate. Now, again, one person is facing felony riot charges. Other 46 are facing gross misdemeanor riot charges.
I'm sure y'all seen this bullshit that happened today. Fuck what they talking about. Yeah, I'm going live now. I've been holding myself, trying to be strong and not say the wrong things because I already know how they get down. I'm 61 years old. I've seen it. I've smelled it. I've heard it. Now you see exactly what these motherfuckers think about us. They murdered my motherfucking son with his seatbelt on. So what does that say to you? Now they got free reign to keep killing us any kind of way they want to. So I just want to say one thing to everybody out there. I don't give a fuck what you do. Do what your heart desires, because that shit wasn't right. And I'm here to say that, and fuck the police. Say whatever the fuck you want to say. Now this is the real Valerie Castile. I don't give no fuck no more. This shit is crazy. You gonna kill a man in front of a child and a woman. Who gonna bring some children to a motherfucking gunfight? Come the fuck on, please. I don't know where they got them motherfucking jewelers from, but that was some straight up bullshit. And they gonna keep on killing us as long as we sit down and just take it. Oh yeah, he was in fear for his life. Bull motherfucking shit. You shouldn't be no police officer if you gonna handle yourself in that manner. Do what you do. Cause this shit gonna keep on happening, and it's gonna be you one day in this fucked up mother's club with their children murdered by the motherfucking police. I don't give no fuck. Man, y'all just don't know how sister feeling right now. If I had it my way, it's on and cracking. Fuck that shit. I'm sick of this shit. Y'all been killing motherfuckers all these years, but here in Minnesota, this crack-a-bama ass motherfucking state. Fuck these motherfuckers.
All right, and we back on the forecast. And we were talking about the Philando Castile case where the officer is found not guilty on all charges, not only murder, but endangering a passenger, endangering a child. And, you know, the thing about these people is they say, well, I felt afraid. It's funny to me how they feel afraid, but when you look at the body count, they're the ones doing the damn murdering. But he felt afraid. And, you know, that justifies the murder of a black man who was complying with what he said to do. He told him to get his ID. He reached for it, and then he shot him. Nothing new about this story. And the thing about these people saying, you know, I felt afraid. I felt like I was scared. You know, they have always used that shit. And that's why people was getting on Christine Leahy. Because it doesn't have to be a cop. It could be anybody. And the difference is when a black person murders a black person, for all of you black on black crime people out there, the difference is one of these groups of people go to jail at the end of the day and one doesn't. Maybe does that account for your difference in your crime statistics? I'm not saying black on black crime isn't is a good thing and shouldn't be addressed. It's an issue that needs to be addressed, but a lot of that shit stems from economics. Economics will solve a lot of these black on black crime issues, but there are certain issues that need to be addressed. And what I'm noticing is in a pattern here is as soon as one case of a cop killing a black person is wrapped up and the person is found now not guilty, we have another incident of a black person getting killed by the cops and another debate on whether it was justified or not. When really the problem is we have got to stop getting these black people killed by the cops. Even if we got to fucking anytime see an interaction, go there ourselves and witness it and we all film the whole incident. Or become the cops yourselves. Because believe me, the KKK people are going out to being cops. Not saying cops are KKK, but there are literally people who are KKK members who join the cops. But, you know, let's listen to this latest incident of a mother shot in front of her kids, a pregnant woman, in Seattle.
Well, here at home, a mother of 4 shot and killed by police after they say she was armed with a knife.
But tonight, the woman's family still has so many questions about how this happened. Annie Andrews is live for us at a memorial for the mom tonight. Annie.
Yeah, we're right outside where this incident happened early this morning, and community members are coming out in droves, lighting candles, making signs to make sure that Charlena Lyles' family know that they are in their thoughts and prayers. Now, Charlena Lyles' siblings tell me the 30-year-old mother recently learned she was 3 months pregnant. They say she found out when she was arrested last week, and it's part of her long history with police that they say should have protected her from today's shooting.
Take her to jail, take her to mental health. Take her to mental health. She has mental health issues.
This video is shot moments after Moniqua Williams learned her sister was shot and killed by police. Her anguish is met with absolute disbelief.
How is she a threat? What is she gonna do to all you police? You big men. I can take her down. I know you can.
This is 30-year-old Charlena Lyles.
She's only like 80 pounds.
Her brother says she's roughly the same size as her 10-year-old son.
She's not big at all.
It's why news of the shooting is coming as such a shock, because of her size and because of her history. Lyles is known to police. In fact, her family says she was arrested earlier this week on an unrelated incident and released. Police say it's the reason they sent 2 officers to her home instead of 1 on Sunday morning.
Officers had dealt with this particular unit, this particular caller just recently. There was some hazard information in there, so that prompted a second officer to respond.
The caller was Lyles. She asked for police to come to her house and take a report. Although police would not confirm what the hazard information said, her family tells us she has a history of mental illness, was formerly homeless, and trying to turn her life around. But when police got there, they say she confronted them with a knife.
Both officers had to fire their service weapons, striking the individual.
If worse kind of worse, is use a taser instead of a gun to somebody that has 3 kids inside of her house.
Police confirm 3 children were home at the time of the shooting. Her sister says those children are now with family.
She had a knife, she could have knocked it out of her hand.
What they say they don't know is why deadly force was used when their sister really needed help.
You guys could have tased her or anything. She's no threat. She's no threat.
Now we're told that police did administer life-saving techniques, but they were too late after she was shot. The mayor has released a statement calling this tragedy a shooting for everyone involved and pledging that it will be fully investigated. The 2 officers involved, we're told, are on paid administrative leave. Live here in Seattle, Annie Andrews, Q13 News.
All right, so here you have now a pregnant black woman, right, regardless of her situation. She called the police because for a burglary or something. They knew she had mental health issues, and they sent extra cops over there, and they still murder her. They still shoot her up, like just start letting off at her, while her children were right there watching. Now again, show me a case where this has happened to a white person. For all the people who want to start out by saying race baiting or any of that shit, show me one case where this kind of incident happened to a white person. We have too many circumstances where this has happened to a black person. Now, we as black people have to see that they are trying to send us a message right now. Not trying, they are sending us a message right now. They are telling us nobody is safe. Your women, your children. We will kill any of you, and it will be justified in a court of law. And, this woman is dead here today. And we can continue to talk about it and talk about it and talk about it. But until we start doing it and getting on the same page and having each other's backs, economics and certain things like that only solve certain issues. It has to be a collective of all of these things to solve it. That is the problem that we are up against, right? It's not just economics, because we had our own economics, but people were still being hung and killed left and right. They still were stealing their fucking property. We had the lowest rate of single parents. We still had mass incarceration. We still had the same way of going to trial. Even though these things will help us to get on our feet, that is not the end of the road. Only us working together in unison as one, and not just here in America, even though we as American black people have to get on the same page here first. And just speaking as an American black man, most things that we do here become the trend, become worldwide sensations, and everybody else gets paid off of it, except for black people. And it's no different from around the world, right? You watch African news or something, and they're just saying, well, we hope the United States doesn't really fuck us up too bad, And then you see a little extra shit about China coming in there trying to be friends with them too, but that's a whole nother story. We as black people globally have to be on the same page. And that again with the whole Hispanic thing. There's racism in all of these countries where darker skinned people face the same issues. Even though it's just different cultures, it's the same issues. We have to realize again, the root of this war is based off of resources, natural resources. Is based off of making money. The land is the money. They only give you green pieces of paper and call this money. Money only supposed to represent the amount of gold you have. Natural resources is the damn resource, is the money. And when they're in control of your lands, because you ain't there to protect it, number one. You over here being profited off of. And they're taking the natural resources from the land you naturally inhabit to the point where it's destroying the planet to make money off of it. To charge other people for using it. Racism was completely based off of economics. And that's why they try so hard to keep us illiterate of economics. And to try to keep us from uniting economically to be able to defend ourselves. They call us violent, but they will drop a nuclear bomb on your whole fucking country if they need to, if they want to. Are we going to stand here and just listen to this shit? Because when you think about it, if the people who face the same challenges we face around the world, around the globe economically, get on the same page, as far as defending ourselves, get on the same page where we have an understanding with our people all over the world, where, you know, our people in Haiti, where we can go and help them and they help us. To the countries in Africa, they love to say Africans don't like us and there's a disconnect. They tell them the same thing about us, that we don't like them. When in reality, these people don't hate us.
We are Ghanaians, we are proud to be Ghanaians. Yeah, I know that out there they are educating you badly, wrongly. That we Ghanaians are living in the trees, we live in woods, and those things. We are monkeys. We are never monkeys. We are human beings just like you people. Yeah, we love, we also care, we also take care of our children. So I don't expect you people to accept the fact that we are monkeys living in trees. Yeah, we speak English. If it's not good, but we are able to express ourselves. So please come back home. Come and join us. Come and be with us. Our brothers out there. Come home. Come home. Hey, he's coming. I know. Come home and join your brothers here. Yeah. We would love to meet you here and, you know, to employ us, you know, to join you, work to develop Mother Ghana. Thank you so much, and we love you.
Hello everyone, I'm Pap Ibrahim Lo from Senegal, and this is my friend DJ from Nigeria. And this is where we stay in Dakar, way between Sokrim and Anmaris. Yeah, this is the beautiful view you get when you stand out here at the balcony. And yeah, that's where we pretty much stand every morning. You know, we welcome you all here, brothers and sisters, to enjoy this beautiful Africa. With us together, we can build a greater Africa. And we would like to welcome you all to come back to Africa. Africa is for Africans.
Yeah, you just have to come back because Africans is African. This is where you belong. We just have to put our house together and upgrade Africa, man. Peace and respect. Thank you.
But we have to be on the same page with them and help each other, or else we're going to keep facing these same issues. We're going to keep talking about these people, and they're going to keep doing horrific things in order to keep the dominance continuing. They catch the body, but you're the criminal. It's a tragic situation. You know, I hate to see stuff like this happen. Shouts out to Philando Castile. Shouts out to this young lady up in Seattle who had mental health issues. The police knew that, but they still end up not treating it as such. I want to hear your opinion on it and more your solutions. What do you want to do? How can we end this divide and conquer thing that is the only thing keeping this whole white dominant society glued together? Is divide and conquer. How can we solve that issue?
Which report? Summer 5th. Oh, this person did a report? No. She's got off the info from June. Yeah. What's that? She called for a DV, she let him in, and then she started talking all crazy about how the officers weren't going to leave, and she had to attack her scissors. And then She got a mental caution on her?
She got officer safety caution.
Okay, but no mental on her? Just curious.
No, but this is the first. I've been out here for another DV with the son.
Wait, is this the one with like the 3 kids?
Yeah, yeah. So this gal, she was the one making all these weird statements about how her and our daughter are going to turn into wolves.
Oh, she didn't want to let them leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, golly. Yeah. Don't let her behind us. I thought she said, we're saying that she wanted them to leave.
No.
She branded specific.
No. Like,
there's a kidnapping.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Hello, good morning. Did you call us in? Yeah. Okay. All right, can we come in? Okay.
There was breaking. Someone broke into my house and took my things.
Oh. What's your...
Yeah. I just ran out to the store, so I left it unlocked.
Okay.
I didn't know where my key was at the time.
Oh, okay. Does anyone... Do you have any idea who it might have been or anything like that? Or...
You said the door was unlocked?
Yeah. Okay. But you could tell, like, it was like they tried to...
And what's your name? And then contact number.
When we come back there, there's a...
Stuff is taken back here. Is there anything else that was gone through while you were gone?
They went to the light.
They said an Xbox was taken.
Yeah.
And then what was it exactly for money? Wow.
Get back. Get back.
That's second.
Hey! We need help. We got this woman for 2 nights. Hey, get back! Get back!
What's happening right now? Who's outside?
The police.
And what are they trying to do? It's charging. What are they trying to do?
They trying to kill us.
I'm sorry, dear. I can hear you. You said no?
It's good. Do you want to go out there?
No.
Oh. Okay. What do you want to do?
This.
There's no wrong answer. What do you want to do?
Tita. Control. Move to the left. This one? Left. Okay. So good. I can put this one.
Alright, and we back on the forecast. And, you know, another day, another story about some bullshit that we keep seeing. Now, how many of these stories we're going to have to keep seeing until we do something? That remains to be seen. But we got to keep the conversation going, especially about the solutions. Try to figure out what we got to do. And as always, man, we have got to start standing for something, or we're going to keep falling for anything.